Ndị be anyị ekenekwanụ m unu. Asị m ka ọ mara na anyị na mma. Anyị sị ka nke onye chiri ya zelu. Dịka o si dị ka agbapụ na-ese wetara onye bụ ozi eji maka ya wee bịa n'iru akwụkwọ n'ụbọchị nke taa na Eastern News 24 bịaba si wee wetara onye bụ ozi ya bụ ozi bụ according to the Biafran activist wetara ya as he quote, breaking news. We are in a terrible situation. Dan Ramsey on Donald Trump's threat, Mazi Nnamdi Kanu, and Southeast Nigeria as he dropped a shocking bombshell concerning the injustice on Mazi Nnamdi Kanu and the Igbo. Hear the news in details. All right, this update according to the Biafran activist with the Bozi. Because pay attention to the clip. Oya Masim Lige say to Saya Bozi and the corner comment feature no dink again. Makoya Bunuku update. Kajimaka Weben Rock on Bosinketa. All right, over to you, sir.
Nnamdi Kanu summarizes the problem of the Southeast. Nnamdi Kanu is an offshoot of the Nigerian Civil War. He represents the unfinished process. He represents the desire of our people to actualize their dreams. He represents the industry Okpara put forward that the Civil War extinguished and nobody was able to resume it anymore. So when he speaks, people don't understand his language because it's not commonplace. It's not the commonplace, I will give you road, I will build this, I will give water. Because he's so fundamental about his approach. Human, the human nature, the integrity of the human person. People can't demonstrate, they kill them, they fire them. So how do you protest really to ask for a change? We are, bottled up, as it were. So, but I have always trusted in the will of the Lord to make changes when it is necessary. Most Nigerians who have lost faith in the political process pray and hope that Peter will emerge to become the future of this country. I pray God that there will be a country called Nigeria, because there has to be a country.
All right, Chief Dan Ulasi, once again, is our guest on Niger Unfiltered. Good to have you, sir.
Good morning, and thanks for having me.
All right, so maybe we'll use this opportunity to look at your life journey into politics, role in Biafra, and of course, so many issues that a lot of people don't even know about.
Well, that's a history. And some of them in the past I hardly want to get back to, especially what concerns the Biafran War. I just finished high school in 1966 and then was teaching at the Queen of the Rosary Secondary School at Nsukka after my high school, and then went to the university. That was before then. Well, in 1966, after my high school, I was teaching, like I said, and suddenly the crisis started. After the pogrom in the north and the killing of Ironsi in Ibadan, and every aspect of peaceful negotiations they were doing between Ojukwu and Gowon collapsed. And suddenly we saw ourselves, mobilizing for, then I didn't know what it was, but every day Ojukwu would speak and Gowon would speak. And then some of us, there were a couple of white foreigners, Christian Catholic priests and Reverend sisters who were teaching at the girls' school where I was teaching, because a Catholic girls' secondary school I was teaching at. They told me that they are leaving. The embassies in Lagos are coming into Enugu to collect all of them out. But if I have to live in this country, I should enter the military early enough that a time will come. That was the time I had the word conscription. I didn't know what it meant, that you'll be conscripted. I said, what, conscripted for what? They say you'll be taken forcefully to be put in the army. Nobody will know whether you went to school or not. And at all levels, you're a graduate, you all be, private soldiers and all that. That's how I was part of the first officers that were trained in Biafra for 2.5 months. And my number then was B/0009. So the 9th person who was commissioned in Biafra Army. And that's how the revolution started. 2.5 years, the rest is history. Whether there was a victim, a vanquished, or victor, it's a matter of history to determine. From what is happening in Nigeria today, respect to the eastern part of this country, there was a victor and there was a vanquished.
So how did you get into politics?
Well, like I said, after my graduation, I taught a little while at the Institute of Management and Technology in Enugu. We opened the Department of Basic and Industrial Science. And from there, I was watching my friend Jim Wobodo. It was, every day we go to a party, a function somewhere. And he said he was interested in being governor. I asked him one day, why do you want to go and soil your hands, that the time Emmanuel Bara functioned, that they had a purpose. And look at what he did in Eastern Nigeria. What I'm seeing now with the military, there's no purpose, just to cannibalize the whole process. He said, well, but somebody can change it. And I've never forgotten that. He said, we can't give up because somebody else was bad. Go there and make a difference. That was what motivated me when Jim was the governor of Anambra State under NPP with Zik as their candidate. Unfortunately, I didn't find it revolutionary enough. So myself, late SG Koku, late Uche Chukwumerije, we all joined Aminu Kanu in People's Redemption Party. We thought we could change Nigeria overnight. That was when we knew how complicated and complex this country was and is still today. That's why nothing has changed, because nobody wants the status quo to be changed. Even when you change one status quo, new status quos come up to take the place of the ones you changed. So Nigeria is a systemic problem, but we can't give up. If anybody has a voice, use your voice for change. I believe that someday people will listen and start at least attempting to make some difference. Fundamental basic needs of society: water, light, good roads. How much does it cost? Because many individuals have billions of naira and dollars in their private account, local and overseas. And you wonder, are they human beings? Do they ever visit their villages to see how poor all over Nigeria? There's no difference between a poor man in Borno State and a poor man in Calabar or Enugu or some other place. You would have expected most of them who are Christians and Muslims, using every day. Muslims pray 5 times a day, knocking their head on the ground. Christians wake up in the morning, praise God, and do this and do that, and yet they don't remember the only way you can compliment what you say to God is to do good to the common people. You remember when I didn't know whom it was that asked Jesus, what is it that he's not doing well, or what he has been doing something. Jesus answered, if you do this to any of this. No, somebody asked him, when was it that I met you and I didn't give you dress, I didn't give you water, I didn't give you food? I said, if you did that to any one of these, you did it to me. And that's one aspect of the Bible I have never forgotten. That when you do good to the poor, you're doing it for God, and you're doing it for yourself too. You take the glory, take the honor, you take the thanksgiving. So I believe we'll have level of leaders who will start thinking about the interests of the common man, because up to now I don't see it.
Are you worried that it seems that the best of Nigeria is in the past? Everything that looks like our best is in the past. Are you worried in any way?
Well, I'm worried to the extent that the past of our leaders, honestly speaking, we are not materially driven. They were functionally driven. They were result oriented. It wasn't a matter, it was a joy for you to watch Emma Bara's Premier of Eastern Nigeria taking political functional context with Akintola in Ibadan, Ahmadu Bello in Kaduna. Everybody boasts of what they have done over a period of time. And people were motivated with that. Go to the National Assembly and you see people coming up, making relative presses about what they have done in their zones, what government is doing. So people look forward, either being a legislator or being a governor or whatever. So there's always a vision. But today, I doubt if people understand the word vision anymore. The vision is to make money, steal money, to hell with the rest of the people. Nobody's interested. If not, if people were any more interested than it was before, then, like I normally say, 774 local government, I'll continue to say it. Water is not running in any of them. I wonder if any serving governor or past governors can take you press people to his town, not local government, and open a tap and water is running there. It will gladden my heart. That is the level where we have fallen down to. If people do not have sympathy for ordinary water, what is you wanting to give you? When you see them do a project, it's a project that foreign money is being siphoned out, because that's the only way they can take that money out. They start a project, pay for it, and abandon it halfway. That's why most things are not happening. Things are not happening. Absolutely not. So we pray God that we start having leaders who will think of the common good. You still feed well, you still eat well. What do you do if you are giving 1 billion to function instead of using 900 million to do something? They're still up to 950 million. And when the little that is left can't do anything, they share it up and couldn't be bothered because nothing happens. There's no consequence in this country for bad performance. That's why things continue to go wrong. You know, nobody is praying for a military takeover, but this is what influences that kind of thinking process. How can we have a change? People can't demonstrate. They kill them. They fire them. So how do you protest really to ask for a change? We are, bottled up, as it were, in a system where there's no light at the end of the tunnel. So, but I have always trusted in the will of the Lord to make changes when it is necessary. And I think this is the time it is necessary. But how those changes will come, it will be imaginative for me to start saying I'm not in government. The much I can do, when I have this privilege of some of you interviewing me, you just use your voice to ask them how much money is enough money. How much do you steal to take care of your family? Your families, your extended family, your children, your ones unborn. That is what they are packing money for. And foolishly, some of the time they steal this money, put it in Swiss banks, in names unnumbered, accounts unnumbered. So when they die, the Swiss government takes over. That's why Swiss government, without all anything, is the richest country in the world as per capita. Because a lot of money is emptied into their country and you can't take it out. So it's a pity.
All right, let's go to Nnamdi Kanu. We've had this back and forth trial, back and forth movement. Today is this, tomorrow is this. What exactly do you think is this problem of forth and back? Nnamdi argues that he has no case. The government says he has a case. So how do we come out of this conundrum?
The summary of Nnamdi Kanu summarizes the problem of the Southeast. I don't want to use the word Igbos because there are non-Igbos also living in some parts of the Southeast. His case is that of a reflective instinct towards self-preservation. How do we, make it possible for our people to survive? And for our people to survive, it is if you survive, I survive. That's collective self-preservation, which other parts of the country are not interested in it. Nnamdi Kanu is an offshoot of the Nigerian Civil War. He represents the unfinished process. He represents the desire of our people to actualize their dreams. He represents the industry Barak put forward that the Civil War extinguished, and nobody was able to resume it anymore. So when he speaks, people don't understand his language because it's not commonplace. It's not the commonplace, I will give you road, I will build this, I will give water. Because he's so fundamental about his approach. Human, the human nature, the integrity of the human person, the dignity of the human person. It's not just a matter of about, giving food and water and this, but the individual requires some respect, some honor. And it's a concept that is not commonplace in the country called Nigeria. So that's why he's in trouble. And since then, unfortunately, he had the misfortune to be captured in Kenya. And 4 years down the road, that's where we are. Okay, so the case they are charging him for, what is the maximum imprisonment term for it if he has spent about that number of years in jail, It shows you the injustice. You're trying to correct somebody using, that kind of process, to correct whatever it is you want to correct. What did Nnamdi Kanu do? He wants freedom for his people. He's saying that you want freedom for your people. Is it treasonable? I don't think it's treasonable. You have a right under the Constitution of Nigeria to air your views, and airing your views will be reflective of what those views represent. The interest of your people becomes a personal journey for you. Achievement of those interests is a personal journey for you. So what is it wrong? Is it the way he says it that they are not, they are worried about? The talks of freedom. What is freedom? The ability to be yourself, to exercise yourself, to answer your name, answer your father's name. What is the summary of freedom? Wake up in the morning and say, I want to go to Lagos, and nobody stops you. I want to go to anywhere, nobody stops you. That's freedom. To associate and not to associate with anybody, that's your freedom. But some parts of this country, they determine what that your freedom is going to be. That's the summary of Nnamdi Kanu's problem. The rest of the country want to determine for us what our vision will be.
maybe aligning it to what a French philosopher Voltaire said. He says injustice leads to independence. I will likely to see it in this light, that the injustice of today might eventually lead to the independence of the people so subdued.
Because if people protest about it, if you remain docile, injustice will not fight for itself. That is in fact, it's just more. That's what Nnamdi Kanu is doing. The French philosopher, that theory has been there for a long time. But the French people also fought in the French Revolution to be free. People have to pay the supreme sacrifice. That's what was going on. How you pay it depends on how you started, your own revolution, how you started, protesting, what processes. It's just speech making, or protesting on the streets, or television discussion, or a variety of ways you can motivate your people to be able to achieve, an honest, purpose for their survival.
Let's go to your party. What's happening to the PDP? There are currently 2 court orders from Court of Concurrent Jurisdiction. One saying go ahead, one saying don't go ahead.
Well, it's unfortunate. Like I said in an interview a few days ago, when I see myself as part of the founding, members of the party, I didn't know it is what will eclipse again in my living memory. So it is very painful. You can see how painful it is for me. And when people like Alex Ekwemo, who suffer so much, for those persons not alive. So how many people do we consult? We've been talking with a couple of friends, Jerry Ghana and some others, and we're thinking what to do. But whether the party can come back together, you see, once there's a major split like this, it's difficult. This group suspends this group, the other one counters the suspension by giving their own suspension. So the loggerhead is no more a political loggerhead. It's like a war front, because you don't see anything good in anybody anymore, only yourself. And once political crisis reaches that stage, then it is almost irreconcilable and becomes irreversible too. So, but like I said, normally I don't give hope. We're meeting again tomorrow, Friday, to look at which way. That's the only thing I can say for now. Maybe in future we'll discuss about it, knowing again what development that will come out of this split that has just happened.
But just to put it mildly, Nigerians feel that the party is causing a lot of nuisance and wondering whether they are not tired of the news, their endless crisis.
Well, it's unfortunate. That's what poor leadership brings about. You don't manufacture leadership on the streets. People have to exhibit the innate qualities, and it's only when you give them a position that you see those qualities playing out. You can't stoke out what you don't have. So the quality of going to school is not all about. It doesn't make you a leader. You can win an election. You can be a governor. That doesn't make it. Is what you do with that office you hold that makes you a leader. You become a governor, running siren on the highest way. But if somebody comes to your state and sees good roads, and sees water running, and sees light for your people, then you become a leader, because a leader has a lot of hope and trusted in him on behalf of people. That's why they voted for him, because they believe he can do A, B, or C. And if he enters into office and he cannot do A, B, or C, it becomes unfortunate. And there's no other way to change it. Then it becomes a violent. People start thinking of violent processes to change that system.
Some time ago, some members of the party believed that Alhaji Atiku Abubakar was the problem of the party. Now he has left the party, yet the party is not yet able to find its bearing. Can we now conclusively say that Atiku Abubakar was not the problem of PDP?
Well, he is the problem, and he's still the problem.
How?
Because, if you instigate, when you leave a party that you founded, rose to be a vice president in that party, ran for office about 2 or 3 times in that party, and you suddenly form another party, that's injurious. You're not Hail Mary. That's a serious injury, because he knows that most of the people in that party went in there because of him, and most of them will also leave because of him, as it has happened now. That is in AD or ADC, whatever the name of the formation is. So even if it is not physically or by spoken word condemn the party, his actions speak louder than a voice, speaks louder than the common words, because he's not there. And you can see top members of the party who have joined him. That's a loss for PDP in many parts of this country. Anybody who is deceiving himself about that is not being honest.
Why would the party deny a strong member of that party like Sule Lamido from contesting for the chairmanship of the party?
Well, even though it's not constitutional, in this country, people do a lot of things on compromise. That's why you see zoning. The word zoning, the only way we represent it in Nigerian constitution is that federal character. That's the equivalent of zoning. When you say federal character, it means that A takes, B should take, C should take. So in political parties, we say you zone offices. And in PDP, the national chairmanship was zoned to North Central, because the presidency will come from somewhere else, deputy vice president will come from somewhere else, president of Senate and speaker will come from different places. So it was zoned to North Central, and we had expected both APC and PDP in the last exercise had their chairman from North Central. Why should Sule Mohammed, Lamido, come out from North West to want to be? They will hold that, and by the time you wake up in the morning, they are running for president again.
All right, looking at the party right now, a lot of people believe that it has pressed the self-destruct button. As presently constituted, do you see the party strong enough to still challenge for the presidency in 2027?
Well, it will be daydreaming to start thinking of 2027 now. Okay, the instinct of self-survival is what we're praying for. If the party survives, then you can start thinking of 2027. So between now and next year, a lot of things will happen. It's either it survives by the two now factions, that's what it is. Because at least one section now have I think both sides now have their chairman. So if we're able to come together, resolve the internal crisis, that would be wonderful. If not, it's a morning breakfast for President Tinubu, because whatever serious effort he would have made to be in office, he can afford his new home. I thought Nigeria is in a place called Paris, so he can afford to go there and start running the affairs of our country from Paris, and couldn't be bothered either way. So it's unfortunate, but if I tell you that I have any good hope of the two sides coming together, it could happen. It could be magical. It could be miraculous. But the people I'm looking at is difficult, because once serious negative positions are taken, you don't see the room for compromise. But like I said, we'll start talking tomorrow. The other side, they're also meeting. I don't want to refer to them to the other side, because I don't belong to any side. I have spoken with all the sides yesterday. So, but if the other side invite me to a meeting, they didn't invite me. One side has invited me, and I said, instead of going back to Enugu today, I'm staying to attend their meeting and ask questions. And from there, we see the word is the phrase is the way forward. Where are we going from here? And if you don't attend the meeting, you can't offer an opinion on the way forward. So, if the other side invites me to, I'll attend and ask them what is the way forward. And from such meetings, you will know whether actually there are external factors helping to do what is happening in PDP. I don't want to be stupid enough to believe that somebody in his party, if he makes me to destroy my party, then I'm the foolish person. I'm not the person. I'll be this idiot. If you're asked to burn down your house and you burn it, you say, it's Chief Ulasi who told you to do that. You must be very stupid. So if people in APC will use some elements in our party to do that, then that shows that we don't have leaders in PDP. That's the unfortunate summary you can make.
Well, the PDP has lost substantial goodwill with the collapse of its structure in Enugu, in Delta, in Akwa Ibom, and now Bayelsa. As presently constituted with all these heavy blow to the PDP, what are the chances that it can still make an impact in the South? Because the way things are looking now, it seems as if it's a divide and rule tactics, that the APC is grabbing the South and the PDP is holding to the North.
Well, there is presently speaking, in terms of governance or government, there is no PDP in the South, East and South. Apart from apart from I'm talking of PDP. Apart from what appears to be PDP in Rivers State, You can't explain exactly what is going on there. So Abia is labor. Let us watch again for how long it remains labor. So it will be unfortunate if a governor like Abia, like Oti, who is doing very well, like Enugu governor. I said it in my last interview, I don't know in which station, that both of them are the best performing governors in this country. Very good. If you enter Enugu, nobody will tell you that. I say, you think it was the period of Emma Bara. He's doing very well. So I don't know what informed him. But when you look at the crisis in the party now, you can see that they therefore anticipated that there was no leadership in the PDP. So why do they remain in a place? They might not have nomination to run for a second term after whatever they had achieved. So it's also some element of self-preservation. If you are doing a good work, you want it to continue at least. Constitutionally, you have 2 terms to do it. Most of them are in their first term. And if the party does not offer them a future with their good performance, they have the inalienable right to want to have a future for themselves. And if they believe APC it is, no, you don't blame them. I would have wanted them for us all to come back together and then think of whether to form a new party, which is the beginning of what I will do tomorrow. When I get back to Enugu, I'm scheduled to have meetings with Enugu governor. We'll sit down and exhaust the future. But all I told them that I will never join APC with them. Instead, I will just retire and watch whatever is happening. There are areas I cannot enter. Normally, since I have done politics, I've never moved from one party to the other. Never moved, not one day. If I feel tired of what is happening, people don't listen to me, I go to my house and sit down. I can't, I don't know why you formed APC. I wasn't where you formed it. I didn't know what was your concept, what was your thinking. So how do I just jump into it and start telling you what you will do? I will look foolish. I had a place I helped to form. We had a view. We ran a government for 16 years. We may not have done wonderfully well, but the first 8 years, Obasanjo did wonderfully well in getting all our debt, dissolved, as it were. Some we paid some, and the others were forgiven. So was a big achievement. I didn't know what Harry did in his 8 years. Instead, he accumulated more debt from the one we paid off, and that's where we are today. So PDP, the future is bleak. I think that's the best way to put it. It's bleak, but it's not. It's not, and it's going towards irreversibility, which should be terrible. I don't believe that anything is irreversible, but there are concepts you see. You find it difficult to see which way. There are people you see in politics, you don't take them for granted. You may not like their face. Politics is not about you liking somebody's face, but looking at the actions and his ability, his capacity to take certain actions. Then you have to be careful the way you deal with the person. It's either you're ready to confront him one by one, or you sit down and compromise and discuss. That is what politics is all about. You cannot stay in your bedroom, this person is this. That is not about what this person is. You don't like Kingsley's face. That's your business if you don't like his face. But he is this. He was governor for 8 years. He's minister of FCT. No matter how he gets there, he's a lawyer. He's a lawyer registered in Nigeria. There are things about him that are incontrovertible. All you may not like, you and I, is his methodology. That's all you may not like. But you cannot tell me that 8 years I haven't seen one person who will get up to tell you that he did not perform in Rivers. Nobody. Not even his enemies in Rivers State. That emirs, Sultan, Igwes were coming to commission projects. They were not commissioning empty projects because they are seeing life where there were commission projects completed in his first 2 years, 4 years, 8 years. I don't live in Abuja, but people also tell me that he's making some differential progress in Abuja. Areas where people didn't have roads before, the tarring roads, asphalting them, even with the crisis he has back home. So I normally want to appreciate people. I tell you, there has to be a level of appreciation. Don't be just Mr. No Good. You are not good. I mean, nobody is good. You are the only one who is good. Are you God? How can you be the only one? Even if your enemy is doing well, appreciate him. At least you have your conscience will be free. That if you pass through a good road and somebody built it, and you ask who built it, they say it's a Shivdan Ulasi, you might as well sigh. But you cannot deny that it's a good road and you're passing through it. That you don't condemn, everything that somebody does. No, nobody does that.
Some people are wondering why it is difficult for the PDP to act on the FCT minister Wike. It looks as if the party is going left. He says he's going right.
Which is the party now? As he says, if you look at it, this is the mistake you're
The
making.
PDP.
Which is the party? Who is the PDP now? You can see the other day, Professor Jerry Ghana mentioned about a couple of 4 or 5 names. Sought for interview with him. Probably today I will know the result of their meeting if they met, because he's become a force on his own. He's virtually in APC theoretically. In fact, theoretically in PDP, but practically in APC, because he's ready for battle. He's started the battle.
And people can't suspend him.
Well, who suspends who now? There has been suspension now. You're just drowning your own voice. The other side, Damagu suspended one side, and the other side suspended Damagu. And it is believed that the other side is pro APC, whomsoever they are pro to, and the other one is pro Wike. So either way you look at it, if they are pro APC, the Damagun group, they are also pro Wike, because Wike is in APC supporting the president. And if the other side, the national secretary side, is supporting Wike, so it means again at the end of the day that the two sides are supporting one person. And it looks ridiculous to me why they are fighting in the first place. This is part of the questions I'll be asking tomorrow. Where are the loyalties? Because it has to be fundamental. Where are the loyalties? Is it to the people? If to the people, how? Find out our governors, if whatever number that is still remaining, if by tomorrow most of them will not have gone. And like I said in my interview, I think it was on AIT, I said, if the governors were functional, they are the people who would have started this recovery. Calling a meeting, because they had tremendous authority. Somebody running a state has a lot of authority, a lot of finance, and make contact, offer opinions, and they have the resources to implement whatever decisions they take. And if they were in love, or they had any good feelings for this party that brought them into national limelight, so they will not forget that it was PDP that made them whatever they are, politically speaking. So they would have at least made a little effort to see whether the party will survive. Instead, the effort they make is when who will be presidential candidate, who will be vice, who will be this. That's not the survival of the party, because the party has to survive because candidates emerge. If you don't have a plan, now there's no platform.
Is there really trust within the party right now, especially among the governors that who are voices or influential figures in the party, that those who shout today we are doing this, the next day you hear they are now embracing the umbrella? Is there any trust? Can anybody be trusted?
Well, that's the question. The word trust is in politics. I doubt if it exists now. The only trust, that if you're seeking for a particular office and you're able to get nomination and you win an election, then you can say the party is there's trust in the process that brought you up. Beyond that, the trust is selfish trust. Trust on who? For who? You can governor in Taraba and some other place. I don't know whether they have joined APC, because before they split, they were already indication that they were moving. Look at the Bayelsa governor that I attended 2 or 3 meetings he called. He told me I came. We had Southern PDP meeting in Lagos. From there, we all went to Abuja with Oyo governor to discuss our future. Where are they now? Where are they? He resigned from PDP just before the split. So you don't know whom you are discussing with. That's the explanation of the trust. If I had trusted in so much, that would be foolish trust, because you're trusting somebody, as we are discussing now, planning what to do tomorrow. And tomorrow, actually, you're expecting that decisions we have reached to be implemented. And I see you or you see me doing something else. What is that trust? So the word trust is kind of flexible. It depends on who is trusting and from where he's trusting from, where he's going with his trust. For what purpose? Is it collective interest or is it selfish interest?
Then what is the fate of the Southeast in 2027 and what are their chances?
Our fate is that we're praying God to be alive. We've never had anything since 1970. Apart from the little effort Alex Ekweme made, was able under MPN to be vice president of Nigeria. I'd always said that each time I'm asked that question, I only give one answer. We don't need to be president of Nigeria or anything to develop the Southeast. All we need is for our 5 governors to be indigenous of Southeast, to have the interests of our people at heart, coordinate their efforts. Our place will be as good as Taiwan or Japan We don't need Abuja or Lagos to do it. Because if you go to Lagos, 80% of developments they are up from people. I mean, it was done with from people from our region. Even in most parts of the north, the same thing. So we can afford to put our house in order and then develop our place. If we can do it for other people, we can do it for ourselves too. And it is circumstances like this that push people to start thinking home. Knowing fully well that if you don't develop your place, how can you claim leadership? When the war started, people ran home to find out they don't even have a place with their families to stay. That's why at the end of the war, people started building houses, the whole of the southeast. So I hope that will translate into proper development, industrial development, estates and such things. And they're happening in most places now. So it takes time to do, but it might not be immediately visible, but a lot of work is going on in the southeast.
In the light of what you are saying now, where does he leave P2B? Does he still have a chance to contest?
Well, if there is a Nigeria, he will contest. If there is a Nigeria, politically speaking, I think P2B has one advantage. He has gone beyond the call of duty being an Igbo man. He's a Nigerian. People look at him as a Nigerian hope, which is an advantage he had that no other leader has it. It's a Nigerian hope. Those who don't trust President Tinubu, most of them trust P2B. They believe he can make a change. Again, that is, thank God you use the word trust. That is where trust becomes valuable, becomes something you can look forward to. Most Nigerians who have lost faith in the political process pray and hope that Peter will emerge to become the future of this country. That is genuine trust. If somebody can lay his future, his family, and give it to one man, that's a lot of trust. And I believe that he cannot abuse it. He will not disappoint if God gives him the opportunity to be president of this country, if there is still a country.
Why do you say there's still a country?
Yes, you can remain in a place without it, and it's not a country. Once you balkanize a place, it's not a country. Because I don't know what is coming up from the north. A lot of meetings are holding on in different parts of the north. Nobody knows what is going to come up. So we're in a dilemma. The dilemma is the kind of situation that happened in the morning. You hear Ojukwu make a big speech. In the evening, Gowon replies him. And we continued this for about 2.5 months. I think it was up to 2 years from the coup of 66. A few months. And then the civil war started. To the ordinary person on the street, you'll be excited. Ojukwu is going to speak in the evening. He speaks very well. He'll listen. The next morning, go on with this, I will crush this, I will do this. We didn't know crushing meant that people would die until the civil war started and people started dying. And we saw the meaning of speaking English in the morning. So again, you can see the trouble rearing its head again. There's crisis in the politics. So if it's not from the military, it is even more dangerous if it's coming from the civilians who are supposed to be the stabilizing factors in the politics. You can start a revolution by voice. What you say in your mouth could be destructive, could raise hatred, mistrust. A lot of things could happen without really firing a gun.
What do you make of Trump's claims designating Nigeria as a country of particular concern?
Well, I'm one person who I don't take whatever Trump says seriously. He has a lot of problem in America. He should go and face his problem. But as a leader of the free world, you should take anything he says, not with a pinch of salt. But if it affects your country in one way or the other, and it is relevant to trying to make amends, if I were Tinubu and what he's saying, because I've seen bishops making speeches from Plateau that there are killings going on there. So at least for once, he says something that is happening. You may not like that, but it is true that there are killings. Because I've seen Anglican and Catholic bishops in Plateau saying there are killings going on. And who are doing the killings? Islamic fundamentalists are doing the killings. So I don't think Trump has gone far from the truth, considering what he used to do in the past. Everything for Trump is political. Could use anything for politics. But in the Nigerian situation, he doesn't need to gain anything, but he said the truth. People would have petitioned him. Maybe people in the Congress who had received petitions from Nigeria would have told him. And America has a lot of security establishment in Nigeria to be able to find out exactly what is happening. So he's not talking out of beer parlor speech. There must be enough evidential proof that something like this is happening. And he said that. And you can see our government struggling to explain. They are not defending, they are struggling to explain out themselves from what he said. And it's not been successful. They have done it very poorly.
How do you feel when Nigerians seem to be excited by what Trump has said and seem to embrace it? And some of them are even saying, when is he coming? How do you feel? And how should the government feel with this kind of reaction to?
You're talking of Trump wanting to come here to fight.
All right, in the by downloading the Kunz Venezuela na Eastern News 24 by Sino Tunya Bozi. If you talk email I'm not to say Bozi hashtag Donald Trump and United Nation. Ka we mari fene meno bosin keta na Eastern News 24. To say Bozi, what say Bozi ya kudu muna doesn't ebe di chiche. All right, downloading then make sure you stay tuned. More news updates, more updates. I get to do in Abuja, but stamaka bi fene me no bosin keta. All right, kemesi anu munem.